Hello again. As usual, you're watching the United Country special on First Ukraine TV channel. Tatiana Shamrai is working for you in the studio. And as usual, we broadcast from the Kiev studio of the National Television Company of Ukraine. If you would like to find us online, please see our website, www.firstua.com, or if you would like to watch us on your digital and satellite networks, please see your screens for information how to find us there. We continue speaking about the most recent news in Ukraine and the most loud news in Ukraine. And of course, we could not skip one big news that is really actual as of today for Ukrainian future, for Ukrainian development, and for Ukrainian economics. I'm talking right now about the IT sphere and a big project related to it. And it is my pleasure to introduce today our guest speaker who will share his expertise and his knowledge because he specifically takes care of the project. Viktor Галасюк, who is the first vice president of BIONIC Hill Innovation Park. Welcome to our studio and thank you for coming.
Good evening.
To share your knowledge about this BIONIC Hill project. So BIONIC Hill, it is a really unique project in Ukrainian reality. What are its goals and objectives? Can you please describe it for us?
Yeah, of course. The main idea is to create Eastern European high-tech hub. Is to create a very special environment where companies could run their business and where Ukrainians can live and learn and have very good jobs in Ukraine. And actually, BIONIC Hill is not even IT park. It's a high-tech park. It's kind of a charter city. It's kind of a hub which concentrates different layers of infrastructure, facilities and service infrastructure and educational services, and also special tax incentives for tenant companies and governmental framework about that.
I see. The idea of the park was started in 2011, and it is expected to work full-time, to be completed and to working in the full capacity in about 2020. Is it correct?
Yeah, it's because it's a long-term project, and according to the international practice, it takes a long time to build this kind of project, and not because of construction issues, because it's from this construction viewpoint, it's quite easy undertaking. But we should really create very special environment to foster the development of the innovation ecosystem, which is crucially important for the project success. Because we should, on the one hand, we should make it very beneficial to tenant companies to have their offices in the park, and not only to be presented in Ukraine as sales offices or rep offices of the leading international companies, but also to help them, to facilitate them create their research and development business in Ukraine. Because Ukraine has a huge talent pool. We have a very strong technical education. We have very talented and very loyal people, very dedicated people. And our goal is to convert it into real things, into real business, because we aim to reduce brain drain, and we aim to create special conditions when Ukrainian companies and international investors they can create profitable research and development business in Ukraine. Because unfortunately, for the moment, we have only one large-scale international research and development center in Ukraine of Samsung Corporation. But, for example, Israel has over 290 such projects, and only in Hewlett-Packard Research and Development Center, they have about 5,000 people in Israel.
Wow.
And if you compare, you can understand that there is a huge room for improvement in Ukraine, and actually, we shouldn't only prepare talented students and talented graduates in Ukraine. We shouldn't serve as a global university, I mean Ukraine, yeah? Because we should create jobs in Ukraine, and we should make companies come to Ukraine and to make it beneficial for them to run their business here. It's the only way to reduce brain drain is to create very beneficial conditions for high-tech business in Ukraine. Because everybody in the world competes, and other countries, they use a lot of tools in order to attract investments and to attract talents. And unfortunately, Ukraine not only export raw materials, and currently we have raw material economy, but also we export the most valuable asset, our talented people.
Yeah, so it looks like the potential that we had, it was not fully utilized, and now via this project, we will actually have a way how to apply, how to find application for all the talented young people, for all the talented professionals that we have out there.
Absolutely, and it will get a possibility to benefit not only for private business and not only for Ukrainians staying with their families in Ukraine and having good jobs and working on interesting projects here, but it would also allow government, and it would also allow Ukraine to change the structure of the economy. And this is crucial, because the worst thing today, if we talk about economy, is not that we have a zero budget in our government, but that we are in a structural economic dead end. We should develop high technology sector. We should develop production facilities with high value added, with export potential to create new jobs. And by doing this, we could expand tax revenue to the government as well. It's the only way, because currently we have one of the highest tax in the world in Ukraine, and I think that one of the most crucial tasks of the current government is to create very special, very beneficial conditions for investors in order to compensate the other imperfections of the institutional environment. Because it's just about impossible to change the whole country like this, yeah? To eliminate corruption, to introduce European democracy in the best way, and we should do all these things, but at the same time we should employ the best international experience by using and by creating such called growth points. And such growth points, they comprise technological parks, innovation parks, and industrial parks, and other things. They serve as a catalyst for the overall economic development, and this is actually a window for international business to come into Ukraine. Because it's very tough task to make international business come into Ukraine when we have the worst places in the world rankings as for the tax burden. We have huge problems with corruption, with other things. But you know that other countries, they started from the several similar conditions, like Malaysia, for example,
exactly.
15 years ago, or China 35 years ago, or other countries, and they just use best international experience, and we should move this way as well.
Well, and hopefully, and looks like with this project, we'll go in that way. And actually, this is the only project of this kind in Ukraine being implemented right now. Is it correct?
Yeah, absolutely. BIONIC Hill is the first and the only component of Technopolis national project. And Technopolis is a governmental framework. And the goal is to create up to 75,000 jobs in high-tech spheres, and not only in IT, but also in nanotechnology, in biotechnology, in clean energy, and other spheres. And the main idea is to become producer, not importer, but producer of goods with high value added. And first of all, I'm talking about scientific intense production. And we have all the pieces of the puzzle, and we just should put it together, and then to facilitate them through such kind of holistic infrastructure like innovation parks. When we have all kinds of necessary infrastructure, we have modern facilities, we have full service support, one-stop shop, and then we have tax incentives for tenant companies to make them come to Ukraine, and we have a very strong educational component in order to provide them with the most valuable asset they need, with the talented people, because it's a fuel for innovation. It's fuel for innovation ecosystem.
And it's the best asset that we actually possess at the moment.
Absolutely, absolutely. But unfortunately, currently, we do not capitalize this asset. We just export this asset. We have raw material outdated economies for now. And for example, IT and research and development sector, it accounts for less than 1% of our total economy. So if we talk about the overall figures, our GDP is only $176 billion US. And actually, if we take GDP per capita, it's a tiny figure, and the same as almost the same as Paraguay and Mongolia and other countries which are not top of the range countries in their economy development. So there is only one way to shift from the raw material to innovation economy, is to use all the tools other countries like Malaysia, China, and Ireland, and India, and others use to shift from the raw material economy. Because even if you look at Israel, they used to be like banana republic, but now they are top of the range country with huge high tech, with huge economic success. And actually, what is very important, that economic development helps to improve institutes. And it makes an order for better institutes. It's much easier to eliminate corruption, it's much easier to eliminate bureaucracy and other things when you have strong business model. And actually, I think that the current problem is that many politicians, they concentrate on populism, on just on talking about some things, and not on economic issues. And we do need to concentrate on our economic issues, because it's not even a question of prosperity. It's a question of country integrity as well. Because if country has a strong economy, it could finance its own army. And moreover, there will not be support from separatists from the regions. Because if people have good salaries, they don't want to play these games.
Yes, they do not get involved then.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like with this project we finally get on the right track and we're going the direction where we need to utilize our potential, etc. I'm aware that this project, BIONIC Hill Innovation Park, it started off as a private initiative. However, there is a support from the government that's needed, of course, to implement that kind of a project. So is the project getting the support necessary for it? And was there the support initially, and is there support now?
Yeah, you are right. BIONIC Hill is 100% private investment, which is very important. But on the other hand, it's also very important that every project of this kind in any other country, they have a strong support from the government and from the local community. And over a year ago, we signed a contract with Kyiv City Council in order to guarantee that Kyiv City will build a road for the park, and a private Ukrainian investor will build and operate an innovation park. So it's kind of PPP, private public partnership. And currently we're at the very beginning of the construction phase, but our current bottleneck is the starting of the road construction by the Kyiv city. And actually we have to wait till they start the construction works, but we hope that everything will be okay with this.
Well, the construction is supposed to start in the end of summer, is it correct? Of 2014, no?
Actually, we have to wait before city starts to construct the road, because we cannot just build an innovation park and there is no traffic access. Traffic access to it.
I see.
So we are dependent on this issue as well.
For this kind of project, what are the obstacles in its implementation? So. It's interesting to hear.
You know, the most important obstacle is lack of understanding in different level of authorities, because unfortunately, maybe it's due to our post-Soviet traditions, but government is often like neutral or even passive as for high-tech development and as for facilitating creation high-tech infrastructure. But if we look at best international experience, we will see that they use a number of very important and very influential tools. They co-invest infrastructures. They do not only provide just roads and external engineering infrastructure. For example, government builds schools and other social infrastructure. In our case, our investor builds all this kind of social infrastructure in the park. And the other very important thing is tax incentives for tenant companies in the park. Because not for the park itself, but for park tenants, because there is no demand for real estate in Ukraine currently, you know. There is demand for holistic solutions. And if we propose such products to the external investors, to the foreign investors, they want to get not real estate or something like that. They want a holistic product when they have talented people, when they have facilities, tax incentives, other things they get as usual in China, in India, in other countries. So tax incentives is of crucial importance because it allows Ukrainian companies and foreign companies running their business in Ukraine to compete with other locations, because the competition is global and it's a very strong tool. The third tool is special loans, because, for example, if a high-tech producer, modern plant, they cannot go abroad to create their sales office because they lack of financing and they cannot afford to make it. And for example, they use only 10% of their total production they can sell. And this is a huge problem because they cannot afford to take loan for 30%. So government should create special conditions, special incentives to give loans to such producers for less than 10% in hryvnia, and this will work. And the government will gain additional tax base and other social and economic and other benefits. This is a third point. And the fourth point, that the government should provide high-tech companies and other producers in Ukraine with well-qualified workforce. And this is of crucial importance. And thanks to the new law on higher education by the Minister of Education, Sergei Kvit, and the Director of Kyiv Polytechnical Institution, Mikhailo Zgurovsky, we hope that Ukrainian educational system will turn to the client, will turn with its face to business. Because it's very important to implement in Ukraine a triple helix model, academia, business, and government. And the main role should be played by business, because only business knows what's the demand for on the international market, what's the needs. So actually, education, it's kind of service corporation for other high-tech and other business. And this is also of crucial importance. And such, we can go ahead, and there are a lot of such tools. So we shouldn't reinvent the wheel, actually. Yeah, we just should employ the best international experience and to use it in a very focused way in Ukraine, and not be, so to say, pseudo-liberal, because there cannot be proper competition between raw material and high-tech industry, because high-tech industry, it's much more risky. And for example, if we take metallurgy, they have only 6% of salaries in their cost structure, and high-tech business has almost 80% in their cost structure. And if we talk, for example, if we talk about the taxation is not fair, because raw materials, they are okay, but high-tech business, they're being discriminated by this kind of taxation, because 15 or 17% of personal income tax, it's much more burden for high-tech business than for raw material one. And government should choose the track of their economical development, because there is no potential for such situation when government says, okay, every industry is okay for me and at the same level. We will never have economic development, because currently we have GDP per capita less than $4,000 per year. It's a tiny figure, and our productivity is only as low as $10,000 per one worker annually. What it means? That we have no future with metallurgy industry, with chemical industry, and with other raw material industries. And also, there is also a parallel with high-tech industry, because we should not only develop high-tech and IT particularly, of course, this couldn't be the only stake of the government, but in every industry, we should shift from the outsourcing model, from the raw material model to the product one. Because if we look at our economy structure and our export structure, we will see that in every key industry of Ukrainian economy, metallurgy, chemistry, and agriculture, and even IT, we are raw material producer. So actually, we just sell something at a very cheap price, but we have huge potential. We have all the conditions needed, but we lack active and even proactive governmental policy in this sphere to use all these resources, to combine them. And actually, we should look at our country as an enterprise. It would be a very great model, because it's like Malaysians, for example, do. And look at their success. Look at Singaporean.
That's what our previous governments were not actually doing. They were not considering the whole country as an enterprise that should be managed in an efficient and effective way. So.
Absolutely. The story of our 23 years of reforms, we're just at the same place. We're just
floating at the same place, yes. Well, speaking about education, since you mentioned it already, as part of the BIONIC Hill Innovation Park project, BIONIC University already operates. So what do you teach there? What is the objective of this educational establishment? It's interesting to hear what kind of specialists go out of there.
Yeah. BIONIC University, it's an education arm of BIONIC Hill, and we started it in 2012 on the basis and in partnership with Kima Hill Academy and with the leading high-tech companies like Infopulse and Hewlett-Packard and Cisco and others. And currently we have such kind of education, non-traditional education institutions, and the first and only one open intercorporate IT university in Ukraine. What I mean, IT university, it's okay, it's understood, but what I mean by open? Open, it means that there is no like qualification threshold or barrier for people to enter the university. The only thing matters is their knowledge and their motivation to study. Moreover, learning in the university is currently free of charge for students due to support of the charitable foundation, The Ways to the Future. So it's very special model because we've got support from corporate sector in IT, and we have created mutual education programs in a way aligned, very tightly aligned with the needs of the corporate sector. So actually we serve the interest of IT industry and high-tech industry in Ukraine. And it's like kind of additional education because we have very strong technical and fundamental education in Ukraine, but Ukrainian graduates, they lack a lot of very important skills. So-called soft skills, negotiations, English and teamwork and project management and other things they need in order not to be just coders, but to be innovators, to be successful software developers. And it's very important for us to provide them with the skills. And the other very important sphere is entrepreneurship. That's why we started two mutual programs with Cisco, called Cisco Entrepreneur Institute, and with Hewlett-Packard, Hewlett-Packard Live, because we do lack entrepreneurial spirit and entrepreneurial skills in Ukraine. And this is one of our major problems, major issues, because if we do not change the situation, we will serve only as a supplier of raw materials in every sphere. And we should change it. That's why we have implemented a new kind of model, holistic education, very practice-oriented, and we have international partners. For example, we've entered the partnership with Coursera, the largest online education platform.
Excellent.
And we've opened the first in Ukraine Coursera Learning Hub in BIONIC University in Kyiv Hill Academy. And we have also some mutual programs, for example, with the University of Rotterdam, University of Applied Sciences. And our key goal is to not provide the knowledge, but to create a special environment where young Ukrainians, they can pool not only knowledge but skills and experience and necessary connections and necessary network and all these kinds of things. And actually it will result in preparing a T-shaped graduates, T-shaped students. When students at the same time they have a deep understanding of the proper industry, and they have interdisciplinary vision, and they understand how to use their knowledge in different spheres, for example, in biotechnology, in automotive, and other spheres. So they become practitioners, not just students or graduates, and this is very important for Ukraine.
Sounds really excellent. So how many students a year can the BIONIC University take now?
The current annual capacity is about 1,000 people a year.
I see. So that's how many students you have at the moment for this academic year, right?
Yeah, so actually we have no academic year in classical sense of this word, because we are much closer to the model of singularity university than to classical universities, because students come to university for 3 to 6 months and they choose their own education track, and they have practice in the leading companies, and they have jobs in Ukraine, and actually we have an alumni, and we follow their success, and this is very important for us because we understand that at the moment when BIONIC Hill Innovation Park is constructed, we will have the necessary talent pool for our tenant companies as well to facilitate their business development. Because the main issue for international companies when they consider the question of opening research and development center, the number one is talent pool. Yeah, the number two is stability and the IP protection, other things. And number three is tax incentives and so on. So we understand and we put the key stake on the education component.
Well, sounds like the students after your university will really have excellent skills and excellent knowledge, so that's a great thing that you're doing, so thank you for that. And to finish off our discussion, so the last question that is really interesting to me, and I think to all our viewers as well, what is the next big project connected with the BIONIC Hill that we should keep our eyes open for? Any events, conferences, anything that's coming up?
One of our current projects, and we have become a partner of this project, is the Kyiv Economic Forum, which is to be held on the 2nd of October in partnership with Kyiv Mahila Academy, with Kyiv School of Economics, with Discussion Club Kolo, and with Ukrainian Association for Innovation Development. And we support this forum because we understand that we should have a very clear and very direct vision of the current situation, current economical situation, and we should and even we must share recipes from the business to our government, how to support key industries, how to put stakes on key industries, and how to elaborate growth points, such industrial parks and innovation parks, in order to foster economic development and to foster technological modernization, because that's what we actually need.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Viktor. We really appreciate you coming to our studio and you sharing everything, well, part of what you know about the great project of BIONIC Hill Innovation
Thank you for
Park.
having me here.
Our pleasure. Please be reminded again, it was Viktor Галасюк, first Vice President of BIONIC Hill Innovation Park, today with us in the studio discussing this great pilot project that is being implemented right now in Ukraine. It was Tatiana Shamrai working for you in the studio of the National Television Company of Ukraine. We are broadcasting as usually from this from our studio. Please see our website online, www.firstua.com, or if you would like to watch us on your digital and satellite networks, please see your screens for details how to find it there. It was the United Countries Special on First Ukraine TV channel. Thank you for staying with us. Take care and goodbye.